Hello and welcome everybody to another tabletop review brought to you by me, Tabletop Junkie today. And we have made it to the end. We finished last review that I did was on the last book of Talislanta 5th edition. And now we are on Talislanta the D20 edition. So this has been getting kind of derivative as of late because literally the changes from each edition to each edition has been minorly done. There was minor changes from first to second, second to third, third to fourth. Fourth, they added in a few new things, and they did change a few things. And then from fourth to fifth, there wasn't much difference. And actually, some things in fifth they did take from fourth and rewrote and readdressed. So it's like if you went from first to fourth or first to fifth, definitely huge amount of changes there. Um, and then now we are on the D20 section, which came out. It's not really like 6th edition or anything like that. It did come out sometime later. But all it basically is in the D20 edition is just a redress of the world once again, only fitting for instead of using its own system that they did later on put a name on, they used the D20. The first chapter of the book is basically an overview and a guide to Talislanta before they jumped into the races and cultures of the world, which we've already covered multiples. There's multiples different ones. You had over 100, I think it started out with over 90 different archetypes you could play. It took like 90 different archetypes you could play, which were various races mixed in with like a class in a sense, or as race was class. They did do in this one they did do and the D20 they did separate it because a lot of D20 games you have race and you have class separately. Now what they did do here as a bit different, once you get past the cultures and the races, they did give you character classes starting on page 101 and prestige classes, such as the barbarian, the magician, the rogue, the scholar, the scout, the trader, and warrior, which are just some basic generic classes that they had in there. Then they give you some prestige classes as per D20. I believe this follows the 3.5 edition rule set. Trying to think, and this was using the system by Wizards of the Coast, which at this time another company had this, I believe, when this was made. So it's kind of this game has actually cycled through. I think the first two editions was owned by the same company. Third edition was a new company. Fourth edition was a new company. Fifth edition was a new company. So this has cycled through like 4 or 5 different companies before coming to a close on the final one. I'm not sure if it was the same creator that's worked for different companies or how it has passed through the years. That much is not actually too clear. So, yeah. So it does make it a bit difficult for that. So let's take a look real quick before we go on too far. Some of the different races that they had in here, such as the Amanian. We did talk about those. We didn't talk about them in great details, of course, because they, those were mixed in with the large, like, types of, like, archetypes, like the Amanian Wizard or something like that, or the Amanian Spellcaster. I think they're, like, religious scholars quite a bit. The Ariad, which are, like, feather creatures. The Azus, which are, like, barbaric four-armed creatures. Those are pretty cool. Those are actually my favorite, and they're usually desert warriors, or not desert warriors. Those are like jungle warriors or something like that. They're very awesome. So they do have a lot here. I'm not sure. Let's see. The classes the races and cultures do start on page 33, and you don't see classes until page 101. So they got 60 paces. 60 pages of races here in different cultures you could pick from. I'm not sure if they were all the same ones that were drafted over from the previous editions or if they X a few of them out. Now, as far as the character classes are concerned, those are your generic character classes. Barbarian, which, carries all the barbarian stuff, and it does look like it follows a 3.5 edition. And the same with the Ras Magician, Rogue, Scholar, so on and so forth. We're not going to go through all those because those are just, like, generic. So, yeah. Then the Arcane Archer, Archmage, Blackguard, Dragon Disciple, Lore Master, Mystic Third. So they have classes in here that are similar to D&D, but they probably didn't draft them all over because they wouldn't make any sense in this kind of world. So, all right. Excuse me for just a hot second here. I gotta take a drink. All right. Just muted that for a minute. Let me get a drink in here. I think I might be coming down with a cold again. I'm having some strange weather effects where I live at, so. All right. So we're going to get into wrapping this up. But we still have a little bit more to go through. Because like every other D20 game, that started out with like the D20 system after like the 2000s. Which carries obviously 3rd edition rules. Oh, and it is Morgan Press, the one that did it last time. So they did this one. So, all right. So on top of classes, you do get skills and feats that will be on the new character sheet for your characters. And then you get obviously they drafted over the equipment and merchants and trading in the equipment list, as well as the spells designs. They kept modes and orders, so they did draft those over for D20 design as well. Now, as we followed before, it was already a variant of D20 game that they kept sticking with. They just kept changing the system, and it was an actual homebrew system, not following this particular makeup at this point in time. Now, for this D20 edition that we're doing a review on, yes, they did actually draft it for the 3.5 editions, which is something that most people in today's time is more or less familiar with. So we did talk about modes in previous editions. Modes is mode is a general type of spell effects, such as illusion, conjuration. So yes, it's like basically, I'm gonna cast an alter type spell, or an attack type spell, or a transform type spell. So you had those, and you had to actually select which modes. In the previous editions, you had to select which modes you favored, or which modes your character was more favorable for. So, coming to a close here, because that was nearly the end. The next topic to talk about is the religion in Talislanta and the Talislantian, because we do have orders, which I believe are like religious orders, because orders was not in any of the previous editions. That is something new for this edition. So I think that is for something for divine magic, to separate arcane, divine, and primal magic, because that is in also modern day, early 2000s to mid 2000s, like 2010ish to 2015s is, the different types of spellcasters, such as druid, cleric, and sorcerer and wizard. You had the sorcerer and wizards were, if I'm not mistaken, you had sorcerers and wizards who were arcane. You had druids that were primal type magic, and you had clerics that were divine. So yes, I believe that is what that is. We can actually just take a quick look into that just to verify. Let's see. Okay, the Orders of Magic. An order is a school of magic like wizardry or necromancy. Okay, so that's what it is. Like cartomancy, cryptomancy, crystalmancy, elementalism, invocation. So they kind of brought in some orders. of which and they do tell you what the specialty of that magic is, and the ability modifier, which uses the different ability modifiers that we use here is dexterity, intelligence, wisdom, strength. It's basically all of it. So they actually, so when it comes to certain order of magic, they actually told you which attribute actually that types of magic uses. So they did actually do a little kind of customization there, which I did like that, because you never actually see anything other than intelligence, wisdom, and charisma being something that magic spell users use all the time. Strength, dexterity, and constitution is more or less the physical abilities, but this type of magic actually uses both physical and mental. So they did do some customization there that you never see in any other game, as of yet. I mean, I think even as of still. Maybe it is another one. I don't know. Maybe I haven't seen it yet. But hey, we'll figure that out, right? I haven't studied all RPGs, but I am a junkie, and I love a lot of tabletop games. But I haven't seen anything like that. So yeah, that's what the orders are. Is basically different types of schools of magic, and that they do specialize using a certain type of attribute. Can you imagine using like dexterity for like fast magic? That's like some animated stuff right there. That's actually pretty cool. We'll definitely have to run an edition for this sometime. All right, and then we do have the Game Master's only guide, which has character creations for GMs and also has monsters and planning out adventures and stuff like that, and some additional information that is only pertinent to GMs only, which is kind of nice to have that section there. And then at the end we get the all right, so at the end, we get what you expect. We get a character sheet that is fitting for 3rd edition. So, 3rd edition type D&D. It does take up, let's see, 1, 2, 3, wait, hang on. I'm probably miscounted. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 pages. A 5-page character sheet. That's probably a lot. So, yeah. All right. So you guys could go on the creator's website of Talislanta. I will have, if I don't already, I will have the link to the creator's website in the description for you guys. For you guys to actually check out. So you guys can go, it's under Talislanta D20. So you go under the Talislanta library, scroll down to, you could actually up to the top, it has some shortcuts where it says 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th edition, 5th edition, and then D20 edition. Click on D20, and you can download Talislanta D20. There's only one book there, so this will actually be the last review for this set. I might come back to it going on down the road when the new edition gets released, because apparently there is a new edition that is coming out. So we will actually get to that probably at some point in the future. But right now, I'm getting ready to wrap up all forms of reviews, and strictly if I do gaming or if I do streaming more than one time a week, it will be nothing but actual plays for a little bit, so that way I can get through my list of games I want to do, and Talislanta is on one of my list of games. List of games I want to do before the end of the year. So I do have a list of games I want to do before the end of the year, so there's 13. I have 2 crossed off that I did complete. Or at least the objective is to do 1 session of each game that's on my list. I have completed 2 so far, and I've got 11 more to go. And it's already April, so we're in the start of the 2nd quarter. So I'm a little bit behind. So I'm thinking, not sure which game we're gonna do next, but we'll figure it out. Well, that's everything I have for Talislanta D20. I do recommend the D20 edition. It is something a bit more familiar for probably a few past generations, current generations, and new generation coming into tabletop game. Not sure about the new, because I know the new thing is like the 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons game. And then soon, I think they got a new one coming out next year. But as far as that, that's all we're gonna mention. But so it does follow the 3rd edition rules from, I think 3rd edition rules was made in 2005, and it traveled to, I want to say 2015 or 2017. I know 4th edition came out sometime after 2009, and it didn't do very good. So I'm trying to figure out, remember, I think it was after. Now, I know I didn't show off any art. There was actually no artwork to show off other than the artwork I've already previously showed off, because all this does was take artwork from the other books and merge them all in together. So, yeah. So it's not anything you guys haven't already seen. And it's basically the same artwork, just readdressing a different edition of the series. So, all right. Anyway, like I said, it follows 3rd edition, regular 3rd edition D20 rules. So, nothing further there. That is everything I have at this time. I want to say thank you for everyone who has tuned in, and for the future viewers. If you like this review, please check out my other reviews. If you didn't like this review, please still check out my other reviews, because they are a lot better than this. I'm looking at doing a revisit of some of my past reviews at some point in the future. Maybe fleshing out and readdressing a few different things. And then if I didn't, I'm also going to review some of my other videos and figure out why I think I actually was getting some messages from some people because they ended up liking some of my sets, but the problem is they felt like I was a little lacking in some information. But I think I have to go through and figure out why I lacked in information, because going forward, when I do reviews, I try not to release too much information that's in the book that someone can use, because some of these books, that I do reviews on, such as the Fate Core system, the Genesis Core. I don't know if I did that one yet. The Star Trek Adventures from Modiphius. Like I said, I don't think I've done Genesis Core yet. I know I did Fate Core, and I know I did Star Trek, and then I also AFM by Grim Jim. Those are my earliest sets off the top of my head. Oh, and also Cyberpunk 2020 is because these are actually these are books that people are trying to sell. And I'm not trying to release information where you could just go through my video and go, oh, okay, this is why this is like this. So we're gonna just do this and not purchase the book, So I think I was detailed in them. It's very possible I was very detailed in them, but I wanted to hold some information back to, because my job about these reviews is to get you guys to look at the books and purchase them and go, oh, if you get interested, at least purchase them, because these do cost money to make. So, support these companies. All right. Well, enough about that. I will probably release more information about this and an announcement stream. So without further ado, I'm going to wrap this up and tell you guys to work hard, play hard, game on, everybody. Have a great and wonderful day, and enjoy the rest of your weekend.